we will say good day to you all this day of your time. We will begin this transmission with the idea of exploring a little bit more deeply the concept of parallel realities. And we will take you through a very specific exercise to give you more ability, more facility with the concept of connecting to and downloading information from a variety of parallel realities. We will call this transmission the parallelogram. Now, we have discussed the idea, of course, that everything exists all at once, and because everything exists all at once, then what you call the past and what you call the future don't really exist anywhere but here and now, alongside what you call the present. So even the idea of so-called past lives, so-called future lives, they all exist now in their own frequency domain, right alongside the existence of what you know the present to be. And they are just different forms of the present that you may not be at this moment focused on, that your consciousness may not be exactly aware of, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means they are operating on different frequencies and you're simply not tuned to them. This exercise today will aid and assist you in tuning in to those various frequencies a little bit more strongly, and thus then give you more capability of being able to fine-tune when and where and how you wish to download information that may be of service to you, being attracted to what you call any particular era or parallel reality, and in using that attraction to allow yourself to do this exercise and focusing in your imagination on the images that we will take you through in a little bit, will allow you to begin to feel, to extend your senses more fully, extend your awareness more fully into these various coexisting parallel realities for whatever purpose you may wish to use them. But in expanding your senses in this way, it will also allow you to get more in touch with what is going on within your own consciousness. Because all these different parallel realities that we may speak of are, nevertheless, though they may seem to be out there, over there, back there, up there, down there, are all within your consciousness as a greater being. Before we take you through the exercise, let us give you a little bit of a map of the territories we will be exploring in this exercise. Now, we have discussed the idea of parallel realities in a number of ways, but we will add a few more to this definition, to this map of what a parallel reality actually is before we go through this exercise. So let us begin by laying out the territory. First and foremost, you are focused in a particular life, in a particular identity, in what you typically call your present incarnation. And because everything is here and now, and because, as we have discussed before, everything is actually one thing, then even what you perceive to be other people in your reality, even they are actually parallel reflections of you from a different point of view. Everything in your reality is a reflection of what you are giving off, what you are putting out as the theme you are exploring. And so, even though there may be autonomous individuals that are real unto themselves, and in some sense different from you, nevertheless, what you perceive as different individuals in your reality are actually reflections of you in a variety of ways, some having more or less relevance to you, some having different forms of relevance to you as reflections, but nevertheless still functioning as actual expressions of parallel versions of you coexisting simultaneously with the identity that you believe yourself to be, that you are focused as at this particular moment in this particular incarnation. So the first level of the concept of parallel realities is simply those parallel realities that exist even within your own time frame, even within your own life, and are represented by the reflections you call other people. They are all reflections of you, thus then they are all parallel reality versions of you coexisting simultaneously with you here and now in this life. Now, the second expression of this concept of parallel realities that we have discussed then is the idea that you are calling past lives, future lives, those ideas, those reflections, those incarnational experiences that you consider from your linear space-time perspective to be not happening simultaneously with you, even though, of course, on the larger level they are. But those that you ascribe to different time frames, long ago or yet to come, as you say, because they are all going on at the same time, then even those are parallel realities with you. And they are different people, similarly to the way that the people in your life now are different people, but still, nevertheless, reflections of your consciousness. So you have the two levels of the reflections of the parallel reality consciousnesses that exist as people you are familiar with, that exist at the same time that you do in your reckoning, and you also have the parallel realities of all the different lives that you are connected to from the present and in the present that you call past lives and future lives, but are nevertheless going on simultaneously. Those are also, thus then, another form of parallel reality existence, parallel reality experience. Then you must understand that each of those, shall we say, past lives, future lives, also have their reflections in what they consider to be their contemporary time frame, and all of those reflections, of course, are also parallel reality lives, parallel reflections going on in their same time frame. But again, because everything exists at once, then even the people that exist around those incarnations that you are most strongly, most relevantly connected to in those so-called past and future lives, even those reflections are also parallel reality reflections for you. Even though they may seem to be somewhat indirectly connected to you, nevertheless, they still function as reflections for those other versions you consider yourself to be, that are going on simultaneously, that you are cross-connected to, and thus can serve as parallel reality reflections for you as well in this contemporary time frame too. So now you already have several levels going on here, but there are still more to come. Because the idea now is to understand the concept of parallel reality in what you might call the so-called classical science fiction sort of definition, and that is that there are different parallel versions of you on different parallel versions of Earth that are perhaps seemingly somewhat similar to the version you are familiar with, or perhaps are not like anything you are familiar with and still are considered to be the idea of parallel reality versions of Earth. And therefore, those different versions of you that exist on those different versions of Earth are also other parallel reality connections that you can make. There may be a parallel reality version of you that took a different choice than you took in your life along a certain path with regard to a certain event. But that life, that choice is being experienced just as realistically and just as much in the present as you are experiencing whatever choices you made in this life. They are going on right now, living those other choices, those alternate, what if I had taken that path choice? That path is being experienced by a parallel reality version of you on a parallel reality version of Earth. And then yet again, on all those parallel reality versions of Earth, those versions of you also have reflections of all the people they know, all the versions of the people they know in those alternate realities that may be slightly different than the reality of Earth that you understand. So that again is yet another level that you can connect to, not only with regard to the idea of the version of you, but the versions of all the different people that you may or may not be familiar with in your life that also exist in those parallel realities as well. So now you have several more levels of the idea of parallel reality that your consciousness is experiencing as a greater being. And of course, this includes the idea, both in terms of the time frames and what's going on contemporarily and what's going on in parallel versions of Earth. It includes the idea of other lives that you may be connected to on other worlds as well, or in other dimensions as well, that are nothing like what you experience in the physical reality versions of parallel realities. You also have alien civilization versions of parallel realities, other dimensional versions of parallel realities going on simultaneously in the greater consciousness being that you are right now with everything that you are experiencing. And thus you can tap into those as well. Those other planes of existence, those other dimensions of experience, those other civilizations that seem quite foreign and alien to you here and now, nevertheless, are all happening within your greater being, and you are quite capable of tapping into those as well. Thus, then, there are also the different levels of your being that we have discussed in terms of the concept of you in spirit, the concept of you as an oversoul, the concept of the oversoul of oversouls. You can tap into those also to some degree as parallel reality concepts going on simultaneously, that you are experiencing all these other parallel realities within. Because the greater and greater and greater levels of your being contain all these experiences of parallel reality simultaneously, and on the higher levels actually perceive more and more and more of these parallel realities simultaneously as their normal way of perceiving reality. You have now the flexibility and the ability and the facility to be able to tap into all of these levels to whatever degree is relevant to the life that you are focused in here, and can choose to download information from all these levels in a manner that is also relevant and germane and pertains to whatever theme you are exploring as this particular focused incarnational individual. So, let us now, thus then, allow yourselves to relax, and allow yourselves, whether with eyes open or eyes closed, to become comfortable, and explore with us through this exercise more ability to expand and more ability to facilitate your capability to connect to all the different levels of the parallel realities that we have mentioned. We will take you through them now as you begin to relax and use your imagination to envision them as we describe them forthwith. So start now with the life you know yourself to be, that with which you are familiar, your identity, that which you call yourself, in this particular single, individual, parallel stream experience, and feel your identity, the familiarity of it, that you have experienced for your entire life up to this point, and will continue to experience for the rest of your life, to whatever degree that may exist. And just feel all of the experiences that are germane to this particular life. Those experiences you had growing up, those experiences you have yet to have, and the experience you are having right now. And allow yourself to look around to all of the family and friends and acquaintances that you have made on this journey, and begin to truly experience each of them as a mirror. See them as an actual reflection, looking as you are familiar with them to look, but actually being in a mirror. And you are surrounded, in a sense, by this hall of mirrors, each of which contains a different reflection that is representative of a different person you know in your life, in this life. And that being that they are reflections in mirrors, thus then you have a greater sense, you begin to really sense that the mirror is simply reflecting back to you your own image with a slight alteration, a slight difference, a slight distortion, a different pattern because of the different vibrational frequency of each mirror, and that you are seeing yourself in different disguises, in different presentations, with different facial features, different racial qualities, different gender factors, but they are all reflections of you, the consciousness that you are. And as we have expressed before with the idea of the prime radiant, they are all, even physiologically, literally, made from the same individual elementary particle that you are. So you are all one even in the physical context, let alone the vibrational context of consciousness. But breathe this in. Look at every reflection of all the people you know and begin to gather within yourself more awareness of the information that these different people, that these different reflections are giving to you, are reflecting to you, that you are downloading from them, even as you are uploading information to every single one of the individuals behind every single one of those reflections, who are themselves autonomous beings experiencing the same kind of parallel reality reflection from you and everyone else they know in their lives. All the communicational nets, see the links, see the lines of light and energy, like a web that connects each and every one of those reflections to you, and you to each and every one of those reflections that you know in what you call your present lifetime. And now, as you breathe that in and become more familiar with those images, those reflections in the hall of mirrors around you, allow yourself to begin to think about the idea of what you call past and future lives that you may be connected to. Allow yourself just to feel your way through this. It doesn't have to appear in any specific way to you, but if it does, then allow yourself to ride along with whatever image is granted to you through your imagination. For right now, it will be the appropriate image for you, even if it should change the next time you do this exercise. For as we have said, change is one of the laws, the fifth law, the only real constant except for the first four laws. So allow things to change up, because that is the nature of shifting through parallel realities, is to experience the concept of space, time, and change. But allow yourself to become more aware of the idea of these so-called past and future lives, and knowing that they are in simultaneous coexistence with you, allow yourself to begin to feel that you are in the skin of, in the clothing of, connecting to strongly and downloading information from those parallel reality existences that you call past and future. And as you begin to become acclimated to living in that perspective, living through that focus, seeing through those eyes of those people who coexist with you in what you call a different time frame, also pay attention to the fact that they can also surround themselves with the same mirrors you are surrounding yourself with, and experience all the people that they know in their lives as reflections of them. And even as you are exploring the idea of what you call your past and future lives, they also can begin to explore what they consider to be past and future for them, as well as those that they recognize as contemporary members of their reality. And so you are expanding the dimensionality of how you are perceiving this idea of parallel realities in a multitude of directions, in a multitude of ways, in a multitude of frequencies. And as you allow yourself to begin to feel not only yourself and the reflections in your life, but your connections to the so-called past and future lives. And as you begin to feel their contemporary realities, and begin to feel the reflections coming to them from their contemporary people, and begin to feel and explore and dive deeper into the idea of what they consider to be past and future lives simultaneously coexisting with theirs, you may also now begin to shift into the idea that there are an infinite number of parallel reality versions of Earth and an infinite number of parallel reality versions of just you, experiencing an infinite number of parallel reality versions of reflections of people they know, and an infinite number of parallel reality versions of what they consider to be past and future for them on all of these parallel worlds that contain and express different versions of who you know yourself to be. And so you are expanding yet again into a multitude of dimensions and into other vectors. The idea of your connections, your web of energy and information. And you are expanding this multidimensionally in a variety of ways to allow you more facility, more ability to download information without hesitation in a hyperconductive way that will serve you in whatever way that information needs to come, through your imagination, through the vibrations of your emotions, through your mentality, through your physicality, in whatever way it needs to come, through whatever senses it may need to express itself. All this information is available to you in whatever way is relevant for your life. And as you begin to dive deeper into this multifaceted idea of all these different parallel reality reflections being experienced simultaneously by all these different versions of your greater being expressing itself in all the ways that it can, then you begin also to understand that each and every one of the reflections of your contemporaries, each and every one of the reflections of these so-called past and future lives and their contemporaries, and each and every one of the so-called past and future lives of all the contemporaries are also available to you in this infinite net of energy, crisscrossing in a multitude of dimensional ways. Lines of communication, information, and light, always being available to you at the center of this web. And every single being in every single parallel reality also experiences themselves at the center of this infinite web of multidimensional presence and parallel reality experience. And you also, as you explore and allow that vibration to settle and sink within you and lock itself and crystallize itself within the electromagnetic pattern of your spirit and the patterns of your physical reality, you also begin to experience the dynamic energy, the vibrational energy of other realities, other experiences, on other planes of existence, other civilizations, foreign and alien to the reality that you may know, but nevertheless all contained within the greater being that you are. And you begin also to recognize and realize that every single one of those parallel reality alien civilizations also have their own contemporary understanding of their own time frame, and also have their own variations of multitudes of parallel reality versions of themselves, and also have the idea of a multitude of parallel reality experiences in what you call the past and the future, all going on simultaneously with everything that you have now allowed yourself to also tap into, and it is all contained within the greater consciousness of your being. And it continues to extend itself into all the different dimensions of soul and oversoul of oversoul. All the way to all that is. All that is. Every iteration, every variation, every expression, every color, shape, and size, every sound, every sense, even those that may not necessarily be relevant to your reality, can still be tapped into to whatever degree they are relevant, to whatever degree of awareness you may need to know them, to whatever degree of efficacy they may have for you in exploring the theme you chose to explore in this life, or themes, and that all that information is at what you call your fingertips, right on the tip of your tongue, right on the tip of your brain, ensconced in the vibration of your being on all levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and down to the level of vibration itself, down to the level of pure consciousness itself, and the all that is that experiences all parallel realities at once, experiences itself to be all parallel realities, past, present, future, at once, knows itself to be all parallel realities at once, and simultaneously knows itself to be each and every individual experiencing a particular angle, a particular point of view of a particular parallel reality stream at once. And then, as you begin to allow yourself, to whatever degree your imagination is capable of delivering this to you, in whatever form it comes, you allow yourself to recognize that when you become aware, more aware of all the different parallel reality versions of yourself going on right now, the final realization you have when you reach the level of all that is, experiencing itself as all possible parallel realities in any way, shape, or form, you realize that you are all that is, experiencing itself in all the ways that it can, in all possible parallel reality expressions, simultaneously. You are your version of all that is. And even then, you realize that there are parallel reality versions of all that is, because all that is experienced by every single individual in the same way that you are experiencing it now, in the sense that when they connect to the idea of their version of all that is and experience themselves as all that is a slightly different version of all that is than the all that is you are experiencing yourself to be. And thus then even all that is has parallel reality versions of itself. And thus then even all that is has a greater all that is, experiencing all the parallel reality versions of all that is that are. And on, and on, and on, and on, and on. Even beyond your capability to even begin to imagine. Until what we might term the reset, the reboot, which is when the all that is and all the all that is become the one, which has no experience of itself or anything at all. And thus, though it contains all possible parallel realities, knows none of them, is unaware of anything. And thus then, creation is rebooted, reset, and again explodes into the opposite of the unknown, which is everything that is known, everything that exists, all possible parallel reality expressions and versions of every level of being, all the different versions of all that is, all the different versions of consciousness that recognize themselves as all that is, all the different individuated sensations of oversouls and souls and spirits and physical beings that have an individual identity that still can know that they are also simultaneously multidimensional beings experiencing themselves as inhabiting a multitude, an infinite multitude of parallel reality streams all at once. Be it the idea of the sideways parallel realities of different versions of yourself, or the time stream version of parallel realities you call past, present, and future, or the different levels of interdimensional realities that you may, as an individual, be connected to and an extension of. All the way now back down to this individual self, in this particular moment, in this particular now, in this expression, this parallel reality stream, having this experience of this particular meditational exercise, knowing that forevermore you are now cross-connected more strongly and have much more ability and facility to simply remember this moment, this vibration that represents all of the all that is, in all the possible parallel reality experiences that there are. And when you step into that vibration, then all the information you need from any particular version of any parallel reality, anywhere and any when, that is going on simultaneously with you right now, will download to you through the synchronicity in your life, automatically, effortlessly, in perfect timing, in perfect comprehension, in whatever form it comes is the way it needs to come. Stay in the moment with that. And any time you allow yourself to simply step back into this vibration, create this vibration of this moment for yourself, so too you'll automatically be linking to whatever parallel reality version of yourself is required for the information that you need to explore the themes you chose. And simultaneously, will you also be sharing whatever information with any other version of yourself in any other parallel reality, other dimension that is required by that version of you to explore the themes that it is exploring. In this simultaneous, instantaneous cross-connection of information that is all going on like ripples within your consciousness. Allow yourself to breathe this in and crystallize it. Breathe it in 3 times deeply and crystallize this vibrational experience of the parallelogram, a very powerful permission slip and tool for expanding your awareness of the parallel realities that the greater you is experiencing itself to be as your version of the all that is that contains all the parallel reality versions of all that is that there are. Feel the energy coursing through you, the uninterrupted informational streams that you are cross-connecting to, that are downloading and uploading to you simultaneously, constantly, effortlessly. You are literally composed of a nexus of information. That's what you are. You are a focal point of information, a focal point of view of a constant stream of cross-connecting informational frequencies of consciousness. That is what you are. That is what we are. That is what all that is. And we are delighted and lighted to be a reflection for you of one of the parallel reality reflections, even as you are the parallel reality reflection we require for our understanding of ourselves as well. And we thank you for the gift of cross-connecting with us, even as you allow us to cross-connect with you. Thus then, as you absorb this vibration and make it your own, allow yourselves the opportunity to sit within that energy, to fully make it your own, to fully crystallize it within the being you know yourself to be, knowing yourself now to be a greater being. And if you wish, in the live interaction of the parallel reality that shall occur in the next phase of this transmission, we can, if you wish, more deeply explore the idea of the parallelogram, or whatever aspect you wish of the parallel reality experience that you are. We thank you, our unconditional love to you, and we will resume this transmission with the live interaction shortly. You may take a short break.
Question is regarding to purpose.
Purpose.
Correct.
Your purpose?
Yes.
Same as everyone's purpose. To be yourself as fully as you can. The idea of acting on your highest excitement is an indication of the expression of your purpose, but your purpose is to be you as fully as you can. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that too simple?
Yes.
Then you may complicate it however you wish.
As human beings, before we come to this life and experience what we're experiencing,
Yes.
we come with a pre-laid out path?
In some senses, many of you do, although it's not necessarily as rigid as you may think. There are certain themes that you decide to explore, and you could consider those themes a type of destiny, if you wish, but your free will determines how you will explore that theme. You can explore it happy, sad, upside down, backwards, forwards, fast or slow, whatever you wish, according to your free will. But you will explore the theme that you set out for yourselves because that's the definition of the life, the process you go through in discovering yourself from that particular angle, that particular path is the very essence of why you are you, as this particular persona in this life. So you work both ends of it, in a sense, by making a choice from a higher level and then making choices with your free will once you are in the idea of the physical experience, exploring the theme that was chosen from the other level. Now, of course, we're speaking about all of this from a linear point of view. From our perspective, everything exists all at once, and there really isn't a before and an after. But we understand that from your space-time perspective, it seems as if you are a spirit before the life, then you choose to have a life, then you die and leave the life. But that's just your perspective from a physical point of view. All these stages of your existence actually all exist simultaneously. But you don't have to worry about that right now.
Okay.
Does this help?
A little bit.
Anything else?
Yes. So my mother tells me stories about my father that I never met, and he used to talk about aliens all the time to her.
Yes.
I never met him. I never talked to her about this until recently, and it's something that's always followed me from my childhood.
Yes.
I've had...
Well, it goes in family lines quite often.
Okay.
Back for generations and generations and generations.
So I've been watching your videos for a long time, and I always feel like there is a message that you might be able to help me out with.
The message that is the most important message we can possibly deliver to any of you is simply the three-part formula of act on your highest passion to the best you are able with absolutely zero insistence on what you think the outcome ought to look like. That's it. Because when you do that, you activate the kit of excitement that contains all the tools you need in life. It becomes the driving engine that propels you through life. It becomes the organizing principle through synchronicity that shows you exactly what you need to do in what order and when. It becomes the path of least resistance that allows you to flow through your life in an effortless way, a joyful way. It becomes the path that connects you to every expression of your excitement that is relevant for you to express in your life. It becomes the reflective mirror that reveals to you anything within you that is out of alignment with that excitement, so you can identify it and let it go because it doesn't serve you, and add its energy to your overall excitement. It is the thing that supports you in all the ways you need to be supported in order to allow you to continue to act on your excitement to the best of your ability. And it will absolutely leave nothing relevant out. It is a complete kit. So when you act on the 3-part formula, you activate that kit, and therefore, all you have to do from that point forward is to continue to act on the things that contain even just a little bit more excitement than any other option at that moment in your life, as best as you can, taking it as far as you can till you can take it no further, with absolutely no assumption or insistence on what you think the outcome should look like, because that's actually a limitation on what could happen even more grandly than you imagined. And by doing that, and then every single circumstance that comes up as a result of the actions you take, just make sure you always know that it's there for a positive reason, and you will always get a positive effect from it, no matter how it looks. Even if something crops up that you don't prefer, if you know that that happened for a positive reason, you will get a positive and beneficial effect out of it instead of identifying it or defining it as a negative. That's all you have to do. That's the whole formula. There's nothing else to it. It's that simple. Does that help you?
Yes. Last one.
Yes.
When I was a child, I was taken somewhere in the water, in the ocean. I just have a memory. I don't know if it was a dream or what it was, but I was taken into the water, deep into the water, and into a cave. And when I got inside the cave, there was a bright light.
Yes.
The light seemed to me what I could remember as Mother Earth. Is there anything about that you could tell me?
Yes, very often, many of you will have different encounters. You will get shifted into a slightly different reality than what you are used to as a physical reality, and have encounters on that slightly different plane with many different kinds of beings. But the dreams that you may remember may be symbolic interpretations of what actually happened, because your physical mind can't either make sense out of what happened, or you are encouraged by those beings to have what is called a screen memory, so that when you wake up, you will just remember what seemed like a strange dream and won't actually remember what happened, because there are reasons why memorizing what happened may actually interfere with your life unfolding in a natural way. So what you're experiencing or describing is a screen memory that is typical of being taken aboard a type of ship, placed in a liquid immersion that allows for the shift to happen without damage to your body to a slightly different dimensional plane, and the light being the idea of an examination or a scanning beam upon you to determine your state of being. Does that help?
Do you know what the purpose of that was?
Yes, to determine your state of being, your state of energy, to see how you were progressing. Because you have made an agreement, like many of you, with these beings to be part of what we typically call the evolutionary hybridization agenda. Part of the evolution of the Earth becoming what we term the 6th hybrid race. So you're playing your part, and now and then there will be, well, checkups.
How am I doing? How am I doing?
You're doing fine.
More specific?
You're doing very fine.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Pleasant dreams to you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay, hi there.
And for you, good day.
I'm Bonnie, and I'm just starting my journey.
You are?
Well,
were you just born yesterday?
No. Actually, I've been on the journey for a long time.
We thought
and I've
so.
been trying to, help my children.
You've been what?
I've been
You've
trying
been what? You've been what? We are
trying-
selectively deaf to certain terminologies,
Okay,
such as the word trying. You're either doing something or you're not. Now, if you want to try, that's an experience unto itself, and that's fine and valid. but the only experience you will have is the experience of trying and not actually doing the thing. So, what would you prefer? To do?
To do, okay.
And what would you prefer to be doing that you're not doing?
Okay, well, I've been doing, trying.
I beg your pardon? Speak
Okay,
up.
I've been talking to my children about journeys and paths they can take and so forth for a very long time. And I kind of lost my own focus, and now I'm
What are you exploring?
need to get myself back on the same path that now my son has really, come full circle with, and
Yes.
is now
All right. Well, what could
bringing
you be
me back
doing?
here. So yes, so as
What
far
could
as
you be
your
doing that
teacher,
you're not doing?
could you possibly put me in the direction I need to be with your teacher?
Pick a direction. Again, it's not that complicated. When we talk about the idea of acting on your highest excitement, we don't necessarily mean it has to represent itself right away as a career or life-spanning project or anything of that nature. All we're saying is if you don't have something expressing itself that way, begin simply. Look around. Just look at the options available to you. Simple, everyday options. Walking, reading, singing, writing, having lunch with a friend, whatever it may be. Just pick the one that has even just the tiniest bit more attraction or excitement to it than any other option, and act on that one first to the best you are able until you can do it no further, with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome of that action will be. You can take it slow. You can start step by step. It will eventually build into more opportunities coming to you synchronistically for more and bigger expressions of excitement, because all excitement is a thread that's connected to all other expressions of excitement that are relevant for you in your life. So you don't follow the form in which the excitement comes, you follow the excitement itself. That's the path. That's your compass needle pointing to your magnetic north. That's all you need to do. We will assume that you are here today having this conversation because out of all the options available to you, this is the one at the moment that excited you the most. Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
That's all
Absolutely.
it takes. That's all it takes. When you are done with this conversation today, when you leave this particular location on your planet, just say, out of all the options available to me, which one is more exciting than any other? If it seems that two are equally exciting or more, you usually don't have the same degree of ability to act on them equally. But if you do, you might as well flip a coin. Because the idea is, since there is a guiding principle in all of this, automatically, if they really appear equal, both in levels of excitement and level of ability to be acted on, it won't matter which path you then take, because if it is not the appropriate path, it will contain the synchronicity necessary to turn you back around to the one that is actually correct for you. It's a self-guiding principle. This is how it works. Understand, we're not talking philosophy here. This is physics. It's just energy physics. This is a description of the mechanism of existence and how you can use it more efficiently, more consciously. That's all it takes. Is this making any sense?
Yes.
Is this
Very
helping
much.
you?
Yes.
All right, and?
And my son has seen the number 1, every time he turns around on the clock, it's 111.
These synchronistic markers, which many of you have, that sometimes, quite often involve the concept of numbers, will be symbolic reflections of synchronicity. In other words, when you have that, it's a marker. It's an indication that at that moment you are in the correct energy state, fully aligned with your path. Stay in that state and act from that state at that moment. It is showing you that your timing is aligned. Yes?
Oh, yes. Great.
That's it.
That's great.
Does that help?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.